I want you to imagine something. It's 11:47 p.m. You're lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking about nothing and everything at the same time. Your phone buzzes. You pick it up. One new message. Unknown number, and it reads, "Hey, I know this is late. I just needed to tell someone that today was the worst day of my life. Sorry if this is weird." You stare at the screen for a long time. You should ignore it. You know you should ignore it. But something you can't explain, makes you type back. You texted the wrong person. But I'm listening. That was the night my entire life changed. And I never even got her name. Not for the first 2 weeks. Stay with me, because this story, it's going to make you believe in accidents again. Scene 1. My name doesn't matter much to this story. What matters is where I was in my life the night that message came in. 28 years old, living alone in a one-bedroom apartment that still had moving boxes in the corner, and I'd been there for 8 months. I worked from home mostly, a freelance graphic designer. Some days I went entire Tuesdays without speaking a single word out loud. I wasn't depressed. At least, I didn't think I was. I was just quiet, living small. You know the feeling when life gets so routine that the days start to blur into each other, and you forget what it feels like to be surprised by anything. That night, I remember I had microwaved leftover pasta for dinner. I was watching a show I'd already seen 3 times, and my phone buzzed. Unknown number. One message. I almost didn't open it, but I did. And there it was. Hey, I know this is late. I just needed to tell someone that today was the worst day of my life. Sorry if this is weird. I sat there for probably 2 full minutes. My first thought was, spam. My second thought was, this is too specific to be spam. My third thought, and this is the one that got me, was, what kind of person sends a message like this into the void and just hopes someone catches it? A desperate one, or a brave one? Maybe both. I typed back, you texted the wrong person. But I'm listening. I stared at what I'd written, hovered over the send button, second-guessed myself, then sent it before I could stop myself. 3 little dots appeared almost immediately. She was typing. Oh my God. I'm so sorry. I meant to text my friend Kara. You must think I'm insane. I smiled. Actually smiled. At 11:52 p.m. on a Tuesday, alone in my apartment. I smiled at a stranger's embarrassment. I don't think you're insane. I wrote back. I think you're having a bad day. What happened? There was a longer pause this time. I thought maybe she'd come to her senses and stop responding. But then, my boyfriend of 3 years broke up with me. At a restaurant. In front of other people. And then he asked if he could finish his food before he left. I actually laughed out loud at that last part. Not because it was funny. It wasn't. It was awful. But the way she wrote it, with that blunt, exhausted honesty, was so human and so real that I couldn't help it. He finished his food, I typed. He ordered dessert. And just like that, 2 strangers who had never met were laughing together at midnight. Scene 2. We didn't exchange names that first night. I don't know if that was deliberate on her part or mine. It just didn't come up. We talked for almost 2 hours. About her terrible ex, about the restaurant, about the specific cruelty of being broken up with in a public place so that you can't even cry properly. She was funny, sharply, quietly funny, in the way that only people who are also a little sad tend to be. Every other message made me smile, and somewhere around she wrote, I should let you sleep. Thank you. Wrong number. You were exactly what I needed tonight. Any time. I wrote back, and I meant it. I put my phone down and laid back on my pillow. The TV was still going, that same show I'd already seen 3 times. But I turned it off, and for the first time in a long time, I fell asleep almost immediately. I didn't expect to hear from her again, but the next evening, around PM, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Hey, it's the girl from last night. The one with the terrible ex and the dessert story. I hope this isn't weird, but I kind of told my friend about you, and she said I should at least say thank you properly. So, thank you. Properly. I stared at the message with this ridiculous grin on my face. It's not weird, I wrote. How are you feeling today? Like I cried for 6 hours, and then ran out of tears and had to go back to being a functional person. I had leftover pasta again. So, about the same. We're both thriving. And that was it. That was the beginning. Over the next 2 weeks, we texted every single day. Long conversations, short ones, morning messages, late night ones. We talked about everything and nothing. Her job as an elementary school art teacher, my struggle to meet client deadlines, her obsession with obscure 1970 seconds folk music, my embarrassingly large collection of unread books. It became a game, almost, a running joke. I called her wrong number, because she'd been mine. She called me leftover pasta guy. We talked about our lives with this strange, beautiful freedom that comes from anonymity. Like we could be completely honest, because the stakes somehow felt lower. But the stakes were rising. I just didn't know it yet. By the end of the second week, I realized something uncomfortable. I was looking forward to her messages more than anything else in my day. More than coffee. More than finished projects. More than Friday nights. I was falling for a name I didn't even know. Scene 3. It was a Thursday when things shifted. She sent me a message in the afternoon, which was unusual. She normally texted in the evenings. Can I ask you something honest? Always, I wrote back. My heart was doing something strange. Do you ever think about the fact that we don't know each other's names? Like, does that bother you? I sat with that question for a long moment. Honestly, I typed. At first, no. Now, yes. A little. Me too, she replied. Then, after a pause, I think I've been scared to make it real. Why? Another long pause. Because if it's real, then I might mess it up. And right now, talking to you is the best part of my day. I don't want to lose that. I read that message for times. The best part of her day. She'd said it so simply, so casually, like it wasn't a grenade she'd just dropped into my chest. You're the best part of mine too, I wrote back. And then, before I could second guess myself, my name is Daniel. The 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Maya, she finally wrote. My name is Maya. And there it was. 2 people, 2 names. Suddenly very, very real. We talked for hours that night, longer than usual. But something had changed in the texture of it. The anonymity was gone. And in its place was something more fragile and more precious at the same time. We were no longer wrong number and leftover pasta guy. We were Daniel and Maya. And that meant we could be disappointed. We could be rejected. We could fail. A week later, she asked if I wanted to meet. I almost said no. I want to be honest about that. The fear was enormous. Because here's the thing about falling for someone you've never seen. You build an image of them in your head. Not just physical, but emotional. A whole person constructed. From words and timing and the specific way they use punctuation. What if the real Maya didn't match the Maya I'd been talking to? What if I didn't match hers? But I said yes. Of course I said yes. We picked a coffee shop. Neutral ground. Saturday afternoon. I got there 10 minutes early and sat by the window, watching people walk by, trying to guess which one might be her. And then the door opened. Scene 4. She was wearing a yellow jacket. I don't know why that detail has stayed with me so clearly. Maybe because yellow is such a deliberate color. It's not something you wear accidentally. It says something about a person. It says, I want to be seen. I want today to be bright. She spotted me before I could stand up, and she laughed this short, relieved, slightly disbelieving laugh and said, You actually came. You sound surprised, I said. I was 40% sure you'd cancel. I was 40% sure I would too. We both laughed, and just like that, the terror evaporated. She sat down across from me and we ordered coffee. And for the first few minutes it was wonderfully, gloriously awkward. We'd talked every day for nearly a month. We knew each other's coffee orders, childhood memories, biggest fears, embarrassing stories. But we'd never sat across from each other before. It was like meeting someone you'd known your whole life. For the first time, she was nothing like the image I built. And she was exactly like her. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. We sat in that coffee shop for 4 hours. The afternoon turned into evening, and neither of us noticed. We talked the way we texted, but with the added miracle of watching each other's expressions, hearing each other laugh in real air, in real time. When we finally left, she stood on the sidewalk, hands in her jacket pockets,
and said, "So, that wasn't terrible." "High praise," I said.
She smiled. "I'll see you soon."
"Daniel." "Yeah," I said.
You will, Maya. I walked home in the October, cold with my hands in my pockets and this completely irrational, enormous feeling in my chest.
It wasn't love yet. Not quite. But it was the edge of it.
The moment just before the sunrise, when the sky starts to turn and
You just know.
that something beautiful is on its way. Scene 5. That was 2 years ago. Maya and I have been together for 18 months now. She still teaches art to 8-year-olds who adore her. I still freelance, but I've moved into a bigger apartment, one with no boxes in the corners. We go to farmers markets on Sunday mornings and she drags me to folk music concerts. I pretend to merely tolerate but secretly love, sometimes, when it's late and we're both quiet.
I think about that Tuesday night. The pasta, the ceiling, the buzz of my phone. A message that wasn't meant for me.
People talk a lot about fate, about whether things are
Meant to happen, or whether it's
all just chaos and coincidence. I don't know the answer to that.
I'm not sure anyone does. But I know this.
She was having the worst night of her life, and she reached out into the dark.
And I happened to be there. And I was lonely and lost and living in a box-filled apartment.
And she happened to reach me.
Maybe that's all fate is. Not some grand design. Just two people, at exactly the right moment of need, stumbling into each other. Her contact name in my phone is still wrong number. I've never changed it.
Because every single day, I am grateful she got it wrong.
If you've ever had a moment like that, a wrong turn, a mistake,
an accident that turned into the best thing that ever happened to you,
I'd love to hear about it in the comments.
Drop your story below. Until next time.